Marketing is always about the other person. It is about the trust and faith that the customer puts in your brand. There is the fine balance between the information and engagement. So I'm saying that the environment is helping us underline our differentiation, get that benefit of the differentiation to customers in a demonstrable fashion. We're filling in the gap that is left by the finfluencers. So there's a very interesting gap there. Why do finfluencers spring up so many? Because the brands never spoke in a very accessible way. So all that goes into our content creation, and therefore we're leveraging social and digital big time while keeping the human touch avenue. So we look at a lot of data, we look at a lot of modeling of that data, we look at your transactions, and we look at the conversation analysis. Where did you get more excited in the conversation? Where is it that I should be probably correcting you if you're making a wrong, going towards a wrong thing, or give you a little more if you're saying the same thing. So those pieces.
Hello and welcome to the HT Brand Leadership Series, a series of one-on-one interactions with top brand and marketing leaders who share their industry insights and strategies that have helped shape their stories. Today we are joined by Sandeep Walunj, Executive Director and Group CMO at Motilal Oswal Financial Services, a name that resonates strongly in India's dynamic financial services landscape. With over 2 decades of deep marketing expertise spanning FMCG, retail, and now BFSI, Sandeep has consistently delivered business impact through brand strategy, customer-centric innovation, and data-driven storytelling. At Motilal Oswal, he's been at the helm of driving not just visibility, but trust, navigating the nuances of investor behavior, simplifying complex financial products, and building a brand that balances aspiration with credibility. Welcome to the show, Sandeep. Sandeep, interesting you said that there's not much emphasis in our education system when it comes to financial literacy. There's no specific syllabus or guideline on terms of how do you make children today more financially literate. So it becomes even more important and pertinent for you to maintain a narrative of educating and making our audiences more literate when it comes to financial choices today.
Absolutely, totally. No, these days there are a lot of initiatives that schools take and parents also take, and brands also have been taking. Yes. But I remember my MBA where we discussed billion-dollar mergers and acquisitions, in the class, and we had the best top-notch faculty teaching finance, but nobody talked about personal finance.
Exactly.
So you didn't know where to invest your salary, the first salary that you got, and so obviously the journey started from a lot of self-discovery.
Interesting that your journey has spanned across multiple industries, from consumer goods to retail to financial services. What core marketing beliefs have remained constant across these industries? Because you've been very close to the customer as well, being in FMCG and retail. So has some of those learnings also transpired to the financial sector?
Yeah, so marketing remains the same. It's absolutely about human nature, how people think, how people interact, and what people respond to. So it's all about the customers and their thought processes, how they have their values and how do they respond to a stimulus. So that doesn't change much. In case of an FMCG, you will probably get more involvement. People are a little touchy about the brands that they wear or they associate with. In financial services, somewhere because of lack of deep understanding, the brand differentiation is also not that strong. So if you really see, a soap is a soap is a soap. Okay, now you may not agree with me, but I worked in that category, so I'll tell you. The major difference is actually in the fragrance, the color, and the advertising.
Right.
And the ingredients are almost the same. But a home loan is not a home loan is not a home loan. So somebody else's home loan will be different. It's just that whether you have the aptitude to know those differences and understand that. So somewhere the involvement into the product is what is different. The industry structure is different, the B2B2C structure is different, and that makes all the difference. But otherwise, essence of marketing, which is the consumer, remains the same. So the core beliefs that have stayed constant are it is always about the other person, right?
Yeah.
Marketing is always about the other person. It is about the trust and faith that the customer puts in your brand at the end of the day, right? So that's the second part. The third part is that there is the fine balance between the information and engagement, the left brain and the right brain. which you have to balance as a marketer. So those issues, those factors remain the same.
Yeah, I've been having these interactions with various CMOs across the BFSI industry, whether they're in insurance or banking. I think, but they all talk about a few pillars, which is trust being one of them, because you're asking somebody to give you their money and trust you with it so that it stays safe or it grows. So how does that narrative or that conversation come into your daily affairs when it comes to talking to your audiences, or when you're targeting new audiences, or when it comes to customer acquisition? So at your current role at Motilal Oswal, what makes marketing in this space uniquely challenging or exciting?
So it is exciting. I won't call it challenging. It is very, very exciting because both from the brand as well as the industry perspective, we are at a stage where there is so much more that a marketer can do compared to 10 years ago when I entered this industry. So let me explain. 8 years ago, if you had told mutual funds to somebody, people would have said are subject to market risks. Right? There were so many entry barriers, and mutual funds was equated to risk straight away. Came mutual fund sahi hai, and 3-4 other things like demonetization, COVID, where people became very comfortable transacting digitally. Earlier there was an issue. I mean, people would say, "Aadmi ko bhejo, check sign karunga."
Yes, that's true.
People weren't very comfortable with digital transactions. So with those factors today, people, even the 16, 18-year-olds are, basically saying mutual fund is boring and, I need to invest in stocks. So you see that whole transition that has happened, it's absolutely fantastic, very, very exciting, and very proud moment for somebody who has worked on, some of those campaigns which contributed to industry shift.
Correct.
So it's very, very exciting. Now, I would say that the problem is reversed, right? From lack of understanding, it is now over familiarization. Right, so yeah, you have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds talking very, very authoritatively on FNO,
right,
or cryptocurrency.
Yes, I was going to touch upon that.
Yeah, or commodity contracts. The basics are seen to be a little boring. So it could be the effect of social media, of influencers, the wrong ones.
Right.
But the challenge today is to get
Stand
some
out.
Excitement down and get some knowledge in.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
people's attention span has also narrowed a big time. I remember when I started off investing all those years ago, I would sit with anybody who knew something about investing and learn, and spent like a year and a half learning about various things, and then I chose whatever I wanted to do. These days, that attention span is limited to probably a day and a half. So that's what has changed.
Interesting, because this is a problem, I think not only yours, but I think every marketer's, where we are living in a attention deficit economy where people have attention has gone below a goldfish's attention. And on top of that, you have to talk about financial literacy, you have to talk about better research, you choosing the right forums to talk, or to rather understand how to start your financial journey. So is there a starting point that you expect a consumer, or you're able to dissect them depending on what point they come and interact with you?
See, the cardinal rule of marketing is that you do not prepare a customer. You deal with the cards that you're dealt with.
Fair enough.
All right. So I never said it's a challenge. I've always been saying it is interesting. Why is it not a challenge? Right. I'm saying that it's much better for me today. Right, rather than waking people up and saying, hey, mutual fund is important to you. Today I'm getting a disillusioned guy who's invested looking at, listening to some influencer's suggestion, burnt his fingers, and then have come to a brand like Motilal Oswal for guidance and, hand-holding. So it's great for me. And I am saying some of these people who are exciting customers for the wrong reasons are doing me a favor. They're creating leads for me.
Right.
So it's not a challenge. It's just that one feel bad about the customer.
Absolutely.
Because, they have to learn the wrong way. In my case, when I started off, people would probably get into an FD or let the money rot in a savings account. And then telling them about investing was a positive.
Right.
Now somebody has lost money and has very, very different ideas of wealth creation. Get that guy down and ensure that, they get the basics right is a different kind of challenge. So one is not better than the other, it's just that, how you adapt yourself as a marketer, how you take them along, and therefore the trust and the faith matters.
Yeah, I think that's where the mutual fund product becomes a little more relevant, because people who are fence sitters suddenly who are open to now investing say that maybe mutual funds is a safer option rather than me directly investing in stocks. And that's where I want to talk about the low differentiation and high complexity aspect comes into play. And that's where storytelling and communication probably helps to break clutter and build some emotional resonance with the audiences. Do you agree with that, or there is
No, totally. Now you just said that people look at mutual fund as a starting product. That was a 4 year ago kind of a thing. Right. These days people look at stocks as the starting point. I would say F&O as a starting point.
Wow.
Right.
That's
so it's a reverse education.
That's bravery.
Or foolhardy, depending on how you look at it, right? Because see, F&O at the end of the day is a zero-sum game. In order for you to win, someone else has to lose.
Correct.
Investing is a growing pie, so everybody can win.
Right. True.
Right. So you get into a game which is a zero-sum game. You are up against people who are big wigs and have equipment and stuff like that. And that's why SEBI says 93% of those investors lose money. So I won't call it bravery. I would call it foolhardy, unless you do have access to that kind of knowledge or that kind of a processing speed. So I'm saying the problem is now reverse education. To make them understand the basics and explain to them that the good investing has to be boring. So sometimes you feel like you're taking the Warren Buffett legacy forward. So yeah, so that's both very satisfying, and also you wonder as to where is this going, and why do people not do things right.
No, but we are thankful to Mr. Ramdev Agarwal, who comes on so many public forums and always pushes our audiences to do research, to look at the right forums to invest and come prepared rather than just going blind in it. So thankful to that. Coming to the evolution of Motilal Oswal from being a traditional brokerage house to a comprehensive financial services brand. Any inflection points that played a key role in the transformation in communicating with the audiences?
Oh, that's absolutely a fabulous question. So there were about 4 or 5 things that I would like to talk about, right? First of all, the start of Motilal Oswal, right? Many people do not realize this, but they are the original disruptive fintech startup of India, right? It happened in 1988. When 2 chartered accountants said that we want to bring transparency to this whole broking business. Until that point in time, broking was known for opacity, right? And the Hindi phrase "do kaudi ka aadmi" is essentially for broker, right? Because he never had your interest at heart. These 2 said that we will have the customer's interest at heart, right? So we are the first broker who actually had a telephonic helpline, had research. We spent money doing research and telling people that, boss, this is what you should be buying, and no broker ever did that. They never bothered to do that, right? So that was the first transition, which is the customer first approach in broking industry, brought in by these 2. So we are the first broking company that had a telephonic helpline, as I told you, the first company to have a website, the first company to have a mobile app, and pioneered this whole concept of personalized advice. And then came the broking, right? So broking was really the execution of it, the preparing the customer psyche, and then that whole ecosystem. Today we cover about 99% of the pin codes of India. Either we have our office or our franchisee's office, so you can walk into an office, speak to an expert, get your portfolio assessed or situations assessed, and then you get a personalized portfolio, right? So that's the first transition that they brought in all those many years ago. Then came this whole baseline. People don't spend too much of time, but at a marketing forum, I would like to speak for 2 minutes about that. Think equity, think Motilal Oswal. Okay, coined all those years ago, by somebody who was no less than a marketing expert. Correct. So it was very clearly differentiating, very clearly saying where is my focus, and what is it that I stand for. Absolutely clearly encapsulated in 5 words. Correct. And more importantly, they put the business model behind their positioning, which is also a rarity in BFSI. Everybody says I'm this and that, but then they'll try and sell everything that sells. So for example, Motilal Oswal AMC even today does not have a debt portfolio. It's only equity. All right. Whereas debt is a bigger market, compared to equity. So is basically living the motto. an absolute rarity, and you get this only in FMCG. All right. So this is the second turning point. The third one is them going out and publicly telling people that buy right, sit tight. All right. That was also ahead of the times. Yes. Choose the right investment and sit tight, right? Because there will be ups and downs, and volatility is the only thing constant in investing. And if you have that wisdom and have that patience, then you will make money in the long run, right? So that was another turning point. The last one I think came last year, when we transformed the identity and made it more in sync with the changing consumer realities, refreshed the brand, de-aged the brand a little bit, made it more accessible to all the audiences. Now the challenge, now you use the word challenge many times. The challenge for a brand like this is that it addresses, to use a often repeated Hindi muhavra, pota, baap or dada. That three generation kind of appeal this brand has. So one has to be very careful to ensure that the broader identity is enduring to all three. And then of course you do personalized communication, and these days thankfully with so much of social media and so much of individualism which is taking over, it's easy for me to communicate separately with all the 3 or 4 segments that I have. But yes, that was the fourth I would say milestone in the journey of the brand.
Amazing. I didn't use the word challenge intentionally. The reason I say that is because clearly the audience has changed. The way they communicate and the touch points have changed. Also, we are in the era of financial influencers who've been taken to task by SEBI in some shape and form. And there is also this new term called zero brokerage investing or zero brokerage equity investing. So looking at these new environmental shifts that have happened, how do you see that there's the campaigns that you are overseeing stay insightful, stay relevant and purposeful? How do you navigate this?
So I'm saying that the environment is helping us underline our differentiation, get that benefit of the differentiation to customers in a demonstrable fashion. Right, and live our promise. So actually the environment is strengthening our positioning. Let me explain. With all of this zero brokerage, etc., what is getting sacrificed? Advice is getting sacrificed.
Absolutely, that's what I was coming to. That's where your knowledge bank comes into play.
Correct. Yes. So it's not bad for us. It's great. Yeah. All right. So basically, the competition is going and creating a lot of dissatisfied customers. Right? This is not something that you can do as a DIY unless you are very well trained and you've studied the subject and you have the patience and the maturity that is needed to be successful. Chances are that you will make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where we come in. So the market is actually bridging the gap for us to fill in. So that's a good thing. To answer your question. Now all we need to do is do the right thing, which is to give the right advice. So we have advisors, we have researchers, most of our competitors don't. So we put them to good use, and we deliver the brand promise in every transaction. And of course we are now investing ahead of the curve on personalization, on AI, helping our advisors do personalized suggestions for you. We are doing deploying advanced measurements for customer satisfaction, like net positive score and stuff like that.
Right.
We are deploying the latest in customer experience to ensure that you remain extremely happy at the end of that whole transaction. So that's the second part. The third part is we are improving our communication and making more and more broad based, and we're filling in the gap that is left by the finfluencers. So there's a very interesting gap there. Why do finfluencers spring up so many? Because the brands never spoke in a very accessible way. Now, of course, regulatory challenges were there, but brands left that vacuum, which is filled in by half literate, I would say, influencers. So we are going and coming and filling that gap too. Right. So we have full-fledged studios. I was just telling your team, who create our own content, put it out multiple languages and so on and so forth. So we're filling in that gap as well. So our effort is to not have this, customer burning their fingers and then coming to you. Can they come to us first up? That's really the next challenge that we're working on.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beauties of a full service financial institution who's able to equip the customer with proper knowledge and proper guidance. If somebody walks into your office who's never invested in stocks, what would their customer journey be if they say come in and invest with an X amount of money and show the trust towards you? What can you walk us through how that customer journey would be?
Sure. So the ideal customer journey, which why am I smiling is because it's a rarity now. Nobody allows you to follow that whole the standard path. The ideal customer journey should be that we sit down, have a half an hour conversation. We understand your financial situation, your aspirations, the financial responsibilities that you have, your current portfolio, your assessment of what is right for you, and my advice as to what is right for you. Many times they are worlds apart. So conversation is needed to bring them together. Like for example, the other day I attended a financial counseling of a lady who wanted to have her wedding held at the south of France. And the monetary situation of both the bride and groom was such that it would be great if they could afford South Bombay. So you had to say that maybe 5th wedding anniversary or 10th wedding anniversary you could celebrate there, but as of now don't waste too much of money on that because you require starting capital. So those kind of conversations is the ideal thing. Now, but in reality what happens, depending on your age and how badly contaminated is your mind by all the chaos that is out there, either you have a very, very bad F&O portfolio, or you have a bad stock portfolio, or you have 30 mutual funds in your portfolio and maximum investment is 10,000 rupees, or you basically are a confused soul. So therefore these problem is these days conviction comes before knowledge. Okay, so therefore, as I said earlier, earning your trust and faith is very important. So my best bet is when you walk the step of my office, you need to first have that respect for Motilal Oswal and expect that I'm going to meet an expert. Okay, so somewhere your mind is a little open, or else that conversation, can take many steps before it reaches the right place. So that's the ideal conversation, and that's the reality.
No, that's the way it should be, because that's how you measure progress. And I think many years back the LIC agents used to do that. They used to also come and meet you, have that human touch, wherein they would try and understand and assess your financial goals, and then probably recommend the ideal insurance plan, because even insurance is a very grey, or not a grey, but rather a little complex product in terms of which one is ideal for me. And with the advent of technology, do you think that there has been some game changers when it comes to improving customer acquisition in today's day and age for investor education?
Big time, big time. I spoke enough about social media, so I'll not get there.
Right. No, you spoke about your studio. I wanted to understand how do you design a content calendar? How do you pick and choose that this is the right content that I should be serving my audiences, or do you are doing some analytics to see what social listening is happening and what do the audience want today?
Yeah. So the complete answer to your question is social media is extremely important. We are becoming islands. The social bonds are fast dissolving. So people are spending, between 3 to 10 hours a day on social media. The last number is 10 hours, you heard it right. That's the kind of time some of the youngsters are spending on social media. Sometimes 9 hours on Instagram alone. Right? Apart from social media, there is also a lot of YouTube video consumption, a lot of search that is happening, and these days the generative AI.
Correct.
Right? Increasingly, the whole search is shifting to ChatGPT. Yes. So how do you create content, which matches the query? Because as I told you earlier, the queries are shifting.
Correct.
The query is never these days, guide me for a holistic long-term portfolio. The query is what will double my investment in 6 months. Okay. So we, kind of spend a lot of time ensuring that our content shows up basis what the queries are consumers asking. As I told you earlier, you don't prepare a customer, you play with whatever customers that you get. So showing up, SEO, etc., those are that's the second step. The third step is our own content, right? Because as I said earlier, we need to replace the wrong narrative with the right narrative. So we have invested quite a lot to have registered investment advisors on our portfolio who could create content in multiple languages, basis the subjects that are in vogue. Right, for that we have listening, of course, we also monitor quite a lot. So we have very, very large handles, a lot of customers there. So they give us a lot of feedback. We also have, as I told you, a lot of customer handling. So typically we speak to a customer about 10 to 15 times a month. So this is not, digital connect. This is actually a human connect. So we get a lot of knowledge from analyzing those calls as well. So all that goes into our content creation, and therefore we are leveraging social and digital big time, while keeping the human touch avenue absolutely intact.
I'm so glad you mentioned that you are actually having proper conversations with your existing customers and trying to understand what their needs are. Do you also dabble with, I'm sure you are on Telegram. How do you see Telegram as a platform? Because I've been part of it and I've seen the chatter or the noise that you were mentioning, and it's quite loud over there. So, but brands are taking the plunge and trying to stand out on Telegram and taking advantage, because as you rightly said, it's a good time to be here because there's so much of wrong information. If you are able to give the right information, there is a good chance people will line up for you. So are you also looking at Telegram as one of those channels, or
totally,
it's just a hygiene right now?
No. You, as I said, you deal with the reality that you are so served. So I am not wishing away Telegram. It is here. But as you rightly said, that it also leaves a huge gap, right? Because if you are hit with 50 research ideas every 10 minutes, and I'm sure that's the number very close to that, it is going to confuse you. There's information overload.
Exactly.
And nobody is going to explain to you. They will say, buy X stock, this is the CMP, this is the target price, and go ahead and do it. And you don't even know the name of the company. Many times they don't even say the name of the company. They only put the stock code. Alright, so you need to do some research. So we actually have a separate platform for that kind of an audience called Research 360. Now that's a research as a service platform, meaning you don't have to have a demat account with me.
Okay.
You can have your zero brokerage demat account,
okay. So
right? But please buy research and at least research properly. Yeah, it's a paid service, of course. We don't do anything free. We don't believe in anything free, because something that is free, you are the product. Right? So we will let you search that script. Okay, and very soon we will have AI introduced. So if you say, explain that to me in one paragraph, or explain that to me as if I'm 10 years old, we will be able to do that in a customized fashion. So we are saying, no worries, you are with Telegram, no problem, but please, buy my research service. Don't want to, trade with me, no problem. So we have advisory as a service product as well. So you can buy somebody else's research, you can, have somebody else's demat account, but take my advisory. So we are out there to help you in whichever way you want help.
So clearly, there's a razor sharp focus on performance marketing clearly, and building long-term brand equity. That would be a mantra. But then, how do you prioritize ROI when you look at the current landscape? Is it like a 6-month horizon, or it's all about keep building trust and keep adding more transacting consumers? Is that the ROI right now?
Yeah, so the way this works, I'll use an analogy that I used on another platform recently. Performance marketing is like taking money out of the ATM. All right. In order to take money, you need to first have money in it. Right. So that's the brand trust. Right. So without having a deposit, you can't go on withdrawing. Okay, I'm not saying that it's all only about withdrawal and it's all negative. I'm not saying that. But when there is a rat race, and when the keyword that you're putting in is going to be low cost broking account, then that whole paraphernalia of investing, and that you need guidance, boss, before you can invest, all that has no place in the cutthroat world of performance marketing. So when Motilal Oswal performance marketing ad goes like that, it is devoid of all of that brand communication. So therefore the brand communication needs to be separately done, right? So you know which brand you're talking to, even though the copy is very, very performance oriented. So that's really the balance that we do. It is a long-term, outlook. And so the other challenge is, and I do want to say that because many people are going to be watching this, especially the bosses of marketers are going to be watching this, the CFOs are going to be watching this. And the shorter your horizon, more damage you're doing to the brand. right? I'll not say anything further. Shorter your horizon, more damage you do to the brand.
If I would ask you to walk us through an example of a campaign or initiative that where marketing directly impacted business outcomes, not just leads, but from a perception shift, is there any campaign you can think of in your stable or any other you would like to quote?
Great. So let me talk to you about the most successful BFSI campaign, probably the world over, that I have been fortunate enough to be a very integral part of, and that is mutual fund Sahi Hai. Okay. Now, what has that done for you? Wanted something that shifted business matrices. Okay, that has taken the mutual fund investors from about 90 lakh to about 5.5 crore today in less than 8 years. Okay, it has taken the industry from 15 lakh crore to about 75 lakh crore now. Right. So, yeah, it has taken SIP flows from about 4,000 crore a month to about 30,000 crore a month now. So huge transformation. More importantly, not just mutual funds, it has also helped the broking industry.
Okay, that's interesting.
So when people were open to investing during COVID, people quickly realized that stocks probably is faster way to glory, and that's when the zero cost brokers came through, if you remember, and said that so broking accounts also went up from about I remember 3 crore demand accounts to about 20 crore demand accounts today. Right, so that's the impact that this campaign has had. Now, what did we do? I said we started with the consumer. What was the consumer telling us? That was this stock investing or equity investing is extremely risky, and you only say in your communication that mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. So therefore, मेरा तो मतलब धाड़स नहीं हो रहा है. So we said, all right, so we start with that. We did nothing, right? We did not say anything about mutual funds or this or that. We simply showed people communicating. We had 5 pairs, 10 people in different scenarios. 2 women were talking in a parlor, 2 people were talking on a golf course, 2 people were talking while having a samosa, 2 people talking in a during a music concert, and the end of that conversation was mutual fund sahi hai. Right? So you saw different people saying the same thing. Somewhere it opened your mind. That's all the campaign did.
It was reinforcement. It was almost like reinforcement. You're reinforcing that.
It opened the mind.
Yeah.
It opened the mind, right? So it could have been a very boring piece saying that mutual funds are an instrument which pools resources and invests together. There is a fund manager and his team, and there is like planting a tree, and then you water a tree, and then in one day it will give you fruits. So all that has happened in 60 years before mutual fund sahi hai. But this one simply opened the minds, right? And see what it has done. Right, the rest of the journey consumers did on their own. So which mutual fund to buy, what are the different types of mutual funds, and all of that piece, which platform should I go and buy, they found on their own. And of course that thing was also plugged in by various brands and influencers.
So clearly the trust factor had gone up clearly. The people were able to, the numbers say it all.
No fear now.
And it also ended up opening a little more trust towards direct equity investing also. It was not about just looking at mutual funds as a sole category of getting exposure to equities, but that confidence got built up to directly invest. So that helped the category overall.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So I want to talk, you spoke about AI and analytics earlier. I'm going to touch upon that, that how the search has changed, but in your case, how is AI and automation helping you as a marketer, wherein today the market is becoming almost like a martech expert, if I am allowed to say that. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. That's the execution part of it. Right? Execution in this industry is the last 5% or 10%. The first 90% are about your understanding of your own realities and choosing the right vehicle and stuff like
Correct.
that. So there, fintech beyond a point doesn't help. AI will, but you need to give that time and space to AI. Right. So if you ask ChatGPT, suggest me 10 mutual funds that will double in next 6 months, then it doesn't get any chance to explain anything to you. Right.
It'll still look at the historical data and throw something at you.
It'll throw you 10 names, that's it.
Looking at the historical data, and it won't even have the disclaimer.
Anyway, so now coming back to what is the role of AI? Okay, AI or generative AI has a huge role to play, right? So I will not spend any time talking about the content creation part. I'm sure many people would have spoken at this platform about that, right? So both on the visual side, static creatives as well as video creation, there is a transformation happening. Now come to this conversation. I'm an advisor. I'm talking to a customer. AI and before that, data science can give me a perspective of who you are, right? So if you have given me the consent from an account aggregator platform, I already know your portfolio and in other financial services platforms. So I already have a sense of what are you doing. AI would have given me what to tell you, right? So the earlier half an hour conversation that I spoke of is now replaced with a 2-minute hi hello, and while that hi hello is happening, your entire picture is in front of me on a screen. So I get cut to the chase, right? So that's a huge benefit, right? Because you are time poor, and attention deficit, is also extremely high.
Correct.
So I can cut to the chase quickly. So that's the biggest benefit for somebody like us who believe in personal conversations and advisory and all that kind of stuff, right? Then comes the keeping an eye on your transactions from a positive sense as to what are some of the mistakes that you're making, what is it that you can do right, what are some of the winning strategies people like you deployed, that an AI can give it to you in a personalized fashion, right? You want in a particular language, you want it at a particular time of the day, you want it in a particular format, you don't like emails, you like a WhatsApp message, we can customize it for you, right? So that whole piece AI can really help. And the last part is even our research is being helped by AI quite a lot, right? So that's the entire spectrum. I'm not spending too much of time on it.
That really gives us a bird's eye view in terms of how you are using it to your advantage. My next question is on personalization, because that is a key role, because everybody doesn't like to be treated as a number. They want you to call them by their name and address them as per their situation. So I think that's a key when it comes to especially financial comms. And how do you segment and engage and retain customers across this whole life cycle? Now, let's say somebody has recently become an account holder at Motilal Oswal. So how do you want to retain him or her and make sure that he or she has a brilliant journey as a customer?
Yes. So I'll combine the previous two questions to answer this, right? At the beginning, you asked me what are some of the beliefs that have remained the same, right? The core belief that has remained the same, that marketing is all about personalization, right? In that sense, we have come a full circle. So if you remember, before the advent of modern retail, you had a grocer who knew you, who knew your parents and who knew your food habits, and he would tell you that this is the right brand. You asked him for biscuits, he would give you the biscuits that you would consume, correct? Right. So we moved to organized retail where there were racks and whatever, and then to e-commerce, and now the 10-minute e-commerce and stuff like that, and now coming to personalized AI. Okay, who is going to be storing your orders and then therefore give you the right prompts, kind of a thing, correct? So exactly same thing is happening in investing too. Investing was always about personalization, right? In earlier days, there was this Gupta ji, Mishra ji, Sharma ji, who was your financial advisor, who knew everything about you and your parents and and everybody in the family, and then therefore he gave you the right advice. So that is being replaced by AI. Correct? So we look at a lot of data, we look at a lot of modeling of that data, we look at your transactions, and we look at the conversation analysis, where did you get more excited in the conversation, where is it that I should be, probably correcting you if you're making a wrong, going towards a wrong thing, or, give you a little more if you're saying the same thing. So those pieces help us, help you. And then there's another very interesting part which we didn't spend too much of time on. Motilal Oswal is a full-fledged end-to-end financial services company, which means you can start with me as a mutual fund investor or a broking customer, but soon when you're successful, we also have private wealth, which can take care of you once your portfolio, goes beyond a certain volume. And then we also have the full capital market services, right? So if you are an owner of a company, we can help you take it public. So we have investment banking. If your needs go high of that organization, we have institutional equities. If you do a startup and want funding, we have private equity. So all of those arms work together to ensure that you get the best of the capital markets expertise to you. So that's another way, very, very important way in which, we retain the most important customers of ours.
Clearly, Motilal, Oswal, Sandeep has a huge canvas. That means there are different teams with different objectives. I think your job becomes challenging again because you have to align to everybody's objectives. So how do you align with the sales, the product and digital teams to build a seamless customer experience? Because at the end of the day, customers for the customer, there's only one team always. So is there a magic sauce for ensuring this?
No, that is a challenge. I will admit that is a challenge, because what happens is, it's a very successful place. It has been successful for a very long time. So every individual function thinks that they know their job and they know it very well. So you have to be patient. You have to. Knowledge is the power. So the another motto that the group has for internal employees is knowledge first. So you show them that these are the insights. This is what the customer is saying. These days it is easy because you get the customer speak through listening and the call analysis. So you say, boss, these are the areas that we need an improvement on. When there is so much of data, the product guy has to listen to you, and so on and so forth. So the researchers, we just had a conversation with them 15 days ago saying that we probably need to revamp the research reports that you guys write. And thankfully, this experience was completely opposite. They said, yeah, we've been waiting for it. We wanted to do it like 10 years now. Come tell us where is it that we need to change. So sometimes you get those surprises. Sometimes you got to be patient. But that's the part and parcel of being part of a very successful organization.
Sandeep, let me come to leadership and transformation. As a leader, how do you build marketing capabilities, especially in a space where there's so much of regulatory perspective, there's trust, and there's also financial education, which matter equally. So, how do you see these capabilities emerging in today's day and age?
Yeah, so that also is a challenge, okay, for two reasons, right? The first one is actually marketing is the most important component in a BFSI, especially a retail BFSI, because you're dealing with customers and the starting point is trust and faith, and you really need to explain. And in these days, correct people, so make them de-learn, unlearn, and then learn something, right? So it's very, very important function, but oftentimes it is the last function in a food chain. Right. So the first thing that you need to do as a leader is to give marketeers the confidence and that whole morale booster by showing them that their role is actually very important. Right. Otherwise, it very clearly, unlike in FMCG where marketing is the core of a enterprise, here it is a support function, and many times it is officially called a support function as well. So how do you tackle that? So that's the first part. Second part is that many times that title of support function is owned by marketers themselves, because many times people don't get into the depth of the product. These are complex products, especially for a large organization like Motilal Oswal. That whole range of products is very complex for a typical marketer who comes from maybe an agency kind of a background to understand, right? And as I've told you, our education system, doesn't help you one bit. So, knowledge enhancement of that person is parallelly something that you need to do. So, when they understand what they are marketing, there's more confidence, and then therefore the work gets better traction. Yes. So giving them that morale booster, improving their product knowledge, and the third part is integrating them into the system. So first time I remember when I took my brand head to a meeting with the chief investment officer, he was excited. He said, sir, I was in this organization for 8 years, I never had a meeting with the CIO. And I felt proud, but I also felt very bad, because if that is the status, you have a long way to go before anything positive is going to happen. So those are the areas that you need to correct. So this is the easy part. The difficult part is these days with generative AI, right? Some of the marketers are also trying to short circuit this learning curve. Right. I mean, many times you can just simply put a prompt saying that my company is launching XYZ fund, give me some creative lines. And ChatGPT will give you creative lines, and then that will cover up your lack of knowledge. Now the problem is it will show up someday when you really badly need it. So that's the new challenge that I have. How do I keep people focused on knowledge and the product specifics in the day and age when they don't need to know everything, and answers are created by ChatGPT in less than a second. So those are the challenges.
So what is your approach now when it comes to building your internal creative strengths versus relying on external partners? Because even external partners will need domain expertise or will need that special nudge or understand the nuances when it comes to understanding the product which they are creating a solution for. So how do you balance that, or has that changed in recent years?
No, it has not changed much, is what I would tell you. Changed, but not much. So I started off 10 years ago. Typically, the external partners did not exert themselves much about knowing the investment landscape, right? Because honestly, it's very tenuous for them to do that, right? I mean, you look at a soap or a soft drink, you can straight away start working on it. But to for a mutual fund, I have to really explain to you the difference between a balanced advantage fund and an equity hybrid fund, and as a creative guy, you get bored in like 20 minutes. Okay, so therefore, very rarely did you get a partner who understood it from a product knowledge perspective. And as I said earlier, my focus has always been to know everything, as well as a fund manager or a product manager.
Correct.
Then you succeed to create something. So we never really found people who had that ability. So most of the BFSI organizations do their creatives in-house. Right, and only for very high-end brand related communication do you hire partners. So Motilal also follows the same strategy. We have our own creative people on the copy side, art side, and we also have external partners to do things which we don't want to develop capacity inside, but which are not very knowledge intensive.
Understood. I'll come to the last leg of the questions. This is for our audiences who are young marketers or watching this and trying to pick up some of the interesting nuances you mentioned. But today, if they have to unlearn, what should they lean into?
All right, that's a tough question, but I'll try and sum up all that I've learned in all these years.
You can start with the 3 things they should know and some things they can unlearn. Maybe that would help them more structured.
So what you need to learn is, as I said at the beginning, that it's always about the other person. Okay, it takes time for you to really understand the meaning of this sentence. Increasingly, we are, as I said, a society of islands. Right? So we don't really bother too much. In fact, many times, especially the younger people will drop this line. I'm like that. Okay, this is me, and I want to be me.
Correct.
Now, I respect that, but as a marketer, you will not go too far if you are not going to drop that me. And you will have to understand your range of customers. Now, you work with a legacy brand like Motilal Oswal, the range of those customers is going to be huge. As I said, from 15-year-old to 90-year-old, and with different backgrounds, so you need to be able to relate to people. Only then will you be able to understand what they are going through, because at the end of the day, the second gem is this is all about trust. So if you gain someone's trust, I need to speak your language. Now I cannot tell you that this is me, and you can't start conversations like that. So this is the second learning that I would say. Third one, I think already have said that knowledge comes first.
Yes.
Creative comes later. So if you're not investing too much into it. Fourth learning is for performance marketeers, right? I said already that whole big line that the shorter is your horizon, the more damage you're doing to the brand. Many people don't understand that, but increasingly I think there is a realization that you need to move towards like 50% of the expense for the brand building, 50% for performance marketing. So that's that. Unlearning, there are a lot many things, but I would keep it limited to maybe 3. The first one is that know this, that these days opinions come before knowledge, and you need to really guard yourself against that.
Sure.
Especially when you're armed with ChatGPT and all of those things, you do want to take the shortcut. Now the shortcut will take you the longest as a marketer. Right? There's another one-liner that I would kind of put in there. The next one is develop the ability to create on your own. So you should be able to write good enough copy. You should be able to draw art scribble. That's going to be increasingly important because the whole wide range of customers and many prototypes that you're going to be working on. So, you know, if you get a partner, as I told you earlier, the partners are also not very invested into this category. The partner gives you, creative agency gives you a scribble, and then you say, "Maza nahi aa raha hai." Now, you are doing yourself a huge disservice because that guy doesn't understand what you're saying and he doesn't know what is it that he should be correcting. So you need to be able to explain precisely what is it that needs to be happening there. So your ability to create, especially in financial services, is extremely creative. So important. So that's
really helpful. I'll talk about festive season now. Clearly there is a aura about Indian festivals, and consumers, audiences get very excited, and it's a perfect time to engage with consumers. How is your festive planning looking like? Clearly Samvat is also going to be a huge high point.
Yes. So for us, festivals is a great occasion to engage. So as I said, a BFSI brand has 3 important communication pegs or tasks. The first one is to engage. Right? Without engagement, a deeper conversation can't emerge. Without deeper conversation, I'll not be able to, explain things to you properly. Then it will be transactional. So engagement is very clear. Knowledge is becoming increasingly clear because you yourself use the word unlearn many times. So the people have to unlearn quite a lot. So the job is extremely critical. And the last one is actually the product performance, communication that generates business. So festive for us is largely an engagement kind of an opportunity. We put the brand forward, the brand connects, brand like Motilal Oswal is seen to be a very integral part of Indian culture, the brand that understands the nuances of various Indian festivals and so on and so forth. So we put that out quickly. Around that time, of course, naturally there is a interest in buying products, etc. So the rest of the arms of marketing, take care of that. But we spend a lot on engagement, and that's really what is we see it as a bigger brand driver. So festive is important for us from that perspective.
Sandeep, it was a pleasure having you. It was an absolute delight to hear some of your insights on BFSI marketing. I hope you continue the legacy forward and wish you loads of success ahead.
Thank you so much.
Sandeep's marketing playbook is a masterclass in clarity, consistency, and customer-centric thinking. Whether it's simplifying financial jargon or building digital-first engagement, his approach underscores how marketing can be both intuitive and intelligent, and above all, impactful. Thank you, Sandeep, for joining us on the HT Brand Leadership Series and for reminding us that great marketing isn't about visibility, it's about value.